gentlemen, our main event this Saturday night, it is scheduled for 10 rounds. It is a WBC special event in the heavyweight division. We will first welcome to the ring a native of Cameroon. He is now fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, USA, and he brings a professional MMA record of 17 wins, 3 defeats, with 12 of his 17 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the lineal mixed martial arts heavyweight world champion, Francis the Predator Ngannou.
Well, here he comes, the Predator, born for the big, big stage. The man who has been proving people wrong his entire life. He's got impossible task in front of him that many people are saying on Saturday night. He takes on the lineal and WBC World Heavyweight Champion of boxing, Tyson Fury. And now, one of the questions heading into this week, heading into this workout is, how's he going to look on the pads? We are joined by Billy Nelson, boxing trainer, Martin Bakoli's trainer, and of course Andy Clark. What are we expecting, Billy?
Well, I'm sure he's been working hard in the gyms in America with Mike Tyson, and you know, he has got some experience in punching and striking and through the sport that he partook in. Looking at him now, he's an absolute specimen of a man, and you wouldn't like to get hit with him, that's for sure.
He's an absolute unit, Andy Clark. Look at him.
Yeah, he is, and like Billy was saying, you know, he's got that kind of basis when it comes to punching. He told us yesterday he had that brief amateur career. I mean, it's about mechanics, isn't it, Billy, really? He's got the level of athleticism that you need, so if you had to teach Thor how to punch, basically, didn't you? So, and that's taking someone from scratch. So if you were working with someone like Ngannou from day one, what are you looking to get him doing?
Just concentrate solely on the basics and perfecting the basics, mastering that, and everything else, and his instinctive fighting brain should kick in after that.
Well, a big, big moment in the life of Francis Ngannou. He said that his first dream was actually to become a boxing heavyweight champion. He just stumbled into MMA. He wanted to be a boxer, but in France, where he was, they said, you're better off going the MMA route. And he went that route, and my goodness, did he go that route. Some of the knockouts that he's got, Billy Nelson, I mean, they would even make Martin Bakoli proud.
They really would. I mean, he's a ferocious puncher. I mean, you can just... There's something about him that tells you that a big puncher. But he's going in with an absolute master, a master of boxing on Saturday night, and Tyson Fury. And, you know, I wish him well. I wish him all the best. You know, he's got the minerals to go in with him, so good on him.
What do we think about the idea that punchers are born, not made? Let's have this discussion, because I think we are looking at a man who was born with frightening power. Are they born, Andy?
From talking to trainers quite a lot recently about this exact thing, what they tell me, Bill, is that if you've got a boxer or a potential boxer with a good level of athleticism, with a certain level of athleticism, then you can teach them to punch. You can teach them the mechanics. Certain people will take to it quicker than others, but you just have a certain level of athletic ability, particularly straight punches, you know, with the weight transfer and rotation. You can teach someone to punch hard.
That is the thing, that's the key, the rotation of the waist, the athleticism, and you actually knocked the nail on the head there. It's how they take it in and absorb the information that their coaches are giving them. Some people take a little longer than others, and the ones that pick up quicker develop quicker, don't you? It's just like any form of education.
What do we think about the, I mean, he's not, I can't see him here tonight, but he will be there on Saturday. He has been in his camp. Francis Ngannou has had Mike Tyson as part of his training team. He has been coaching him. He has been giving him that advice, that positivity, that mindset. How do we feel that will affect Francis Ngannou heading into the biggest fight of his life and his boxing debut?
Well, it can only be a good thing for him. I mean, Mike Tyson, you know, he's a legend of the sport. There's nothing Mike Tyson hasn't seen, done, or you know, he's done everything that there is in boxing. So anything that man would say to me, I would absorb that information, take it all in, and try and use it to the best of my ability.
He's doing that old thing now, isn't he? Just wrapping his hands for ages. I remember going to the workout before Anthony Joshua against Vladimir Klitschko, and Vladimir just got a chair, sat in the middle of the ring and wrapped and taped his hands for about half an hour. It was absolutely exasperating. One thing he said to us yesterday, Billy Francis, was that I said, how have you managed to try and replicate Fury in training? And he said, I haven't. I've just been concentrating on myself. I'm not that bothered about Fury. You know, a guy is a guy, that kind of thing. I get that, but at the same time, being able to punch hard on a punching machine is one thing. Being able to hit a moving target like Fury is an altogether different one.
That's entirely right there. You know, you can have all the power in the world, but if you don't connect on something, then you're not going to hurt it. You know, and I know firsthand how good Tyson Fury is. We watched him spar my boxer. You know, he's a defensive masterclass, so he is, and it's going to be very, very difficult for him to hit hard.
Well, listen, I think Francis Ngannou knows that. A lot of people have been asking him about his power. Can he land that shot? And he tends to dismiss it, and he tends to say it's not just about landing one shot, it's about getting into range and landing punches. So I think maybe there's a bit of a myth out there that he's just going to be following him around the ring, trying to land a big right hand. I think there's going to be a little bit more we'll see on Saturday night from Francis Ngannou.
Well, there's one thing, trying to get in distance, or trying to get into distance, it's very, very difficult with somebody like Tyson Fury, because his height, and more so the reach that he's got. His reach is phenomenal, and once you get past that reach, that might nullify his power shots, because his power shots are the straight shots. You know, the rotation off the. I don't think he's going to get those shots off against Tyson, and if he doesn't get them off, then he may be in a bit of bother.
Well, he's got nothing to lose at all, Andy Clark. I mean, you talk about the risk reward. It feels like Tyson Fury is the one who is risking everything in this fight. Francis Ngannou, he's got it all to gain, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. He can't. I'd slightly hesitate to say that it's a no-lose, because in his head, he's not going to look at it like that. He's a champion in his own sport. He's top of the tree, and Bunty was just saying to us, Billy, that you get the vibe from Ngannou that he can't quite understand why everybody thinks he's got no chance, because in his mind, he absolutely has a chance. And having that confidence, that mentality, you know, it is important. He might not win, but do you think there's a chance that he could cause some problems in there on Saturday that we maybe don't expect?
In all fairness, I don't think he's. See, it's not just about punching hard, which he clearly can do. You have to create those opportunities, and he might not have the boxing awareness to do that in the ring. You know, setting traps, slipping punches, parrying punches. We don't know if he can do that.
The one thing you have to remember about Francis Ngannou is the sort of stuff that we're saying there about, it's 1 in a million kind of thing. It was 1 in a million for him to leave Cameroon. It was 1 in a million for him to survive being homeless on the streets of Paris, eating rats, going from homeless shelter to homeless shelter. 1 in a million, really, for him to become an MMA fighter, a UFC world heavyweight champion. He is used to defying those odds.
Very much so, and credit to the man for everything that he's achieved in his career. You can only take bow to him, you know what I mean? And I wish him well, you know, I wish him well in everything that he does. But, you know, with regards to boxing ability, Tyson Fury is not number one in the world for nothing. If it was role reversal and Tyson went to his discipline, it'd be very similar, you know what I mean? Role reversal.
Well, he's making us wait, but we're going to see him let his hands go in just a minute. We were saying earlier on that when you see someone with real top-level power hit the pads, it makes a different kind of noise. It's that sharper explosion of air, that ping sound rather than a thud. I mean, you've been around this a long, long time. Who's the most explosive puncher you've seen on the pads or taken on the pads?
Currently I train a young lad called Lewis Crocker, and he is a ferocious puncher. He actually hurts your hands on the pads. He's a ferocious puncher. But I remember, it must have been about 15 years ago, Jimmy Tibbs used to train Wayne Alexander. Yeah. And we were down in the Lennox Lewis Centre down in, I think it's called Lewisham. I think it's called Lewisham Clapton.
Clapton, it's a Clapton. I know it. I know it.
It was a great facility for boxing, and I had the privilege to watch Wayne Alexander on the pads with Jimmy, and it was like being in a shooting range. Ka-chung, ka-chung. Oh, the right hands were frightening. Absolutely ferocious puncher.
Well, look, Francis Ngannou has now gloved up. We are so used to seeing Francis Ngannou with very, very small gloves on. Look at the size of them, and that is the difference between MMA and boxing. I mean, how big are those gloves do you think he's got on there?
I think they're 16s he's got on.
Yeah.
I think they're 16s. I mean, I believe that is it 4-ounce gloves that they wear?
Correct, yeah.
So even he's going to wear a 10-ounce glove in the fight, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, that, you know, for all the power that he does produce, that'll decrease a little with wearing a slightly bigger glove, obviously. And keeping those gloves up. Keeping 4-ounce gloves up would be a bit easier than 10s, obviously.
So these will be heavier gloves to keep up. So it will tire a fighter out keeping them up.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I can see why they're using the sticks to replicate the longer reach, which is a good tactic.
Yeah, I guess they are replicating the long range, the jab of Tyson Fury. And I guess we're having a look at what Francis Ngannou can do with his head work, right? With his movement.
It looks good. It looks good. Good lateral movement. Elbows are a wee bit out, but you know, very good. You know.
Well, here we go. Here is the pads that people have been waiting for. Are we looking at the man who can trouble Tyson Fury on Saturday? I mean, in terms of the head movement that we just had, a little bit of moving about, I don't think he looks particularly out of place there in terms of in a boxing ring. We've seen him on the pads now as well. Can he shock the world?
I don't think he'll shock the world, but you know, he'll certainly give Tyson a lot to think about. The old saying in boxing, the pads don't hit back.
Billy, look at the size of this man's legs.
Big legs. Yeah.
The guy's an absolute monster. This is a...
That's where the power comes from.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And well done, cameraman, for zooming in. Let's get a little bit more than the calves, though. Give me a bit of thigh. Size of this guy, unbelievable.
If you were cornering him on Saturday, Bill, if you were leading the corner, what would you be saying to him in terms of a game plan?
That's a very difficult question to answer because I don't know his true boxing ability, what his strengths and weaknesses are. If he's a puncher, you've got to ask him to keep that head moving. He's got to keep the head moving no matter what, because Tyson Fury at distance will just ping his head, and once he gets his distance from his jab, then he'll just get that right hand, coming off. You know what it's like.
Well, trainer Dewey Cooper is wearing something that Francis Ngannou is about to hit very hard, I'm sure. I wouldn't want to be him right now. In terms of Tyson on Saturday night, we've seen in other fights before, sometimes he'll put his hands behind his back, sometimes he'll poke his tongue out. He's a guy who likes to have fun, sometimes in the most ridiculous situations, like when he's hurt against Wilder. He does like to have a bit of fun. Do you think he'll be pulling any faces or having fun on Saturday night?
I think he'll have Francis. Yeah, I think he'll go out the first minute, have a good look at him, judge his speed, see what he's got, and then Tyson. I mean, Tyson is an exceptional fighter, and I think he'll show his full array of skills. I think Francis will have great difficulty getting past Tyson Fury's jab. It's an educated jab for many, many years. You just can't go in a boxing gym and have a jab like Tyson Fury's. You know what I mean?
One thing I would point out is is that I believe Tyson Fury in his career has been dropped by people who don't hit as hard as Francis Ngannou. You've got to remember, this guy that we're looking at right now is in the Guinness Book of World Records for punching harder than anyone else in the world. Tyson Fury early in his career has been dropped by guys like Steve Cunningham, Neven Pajcik in particular, and I don't think they hit as hard as this guy.
I mean, it's kind of impossible to tell, really, because, like we said before, hitting a punching machine is one thing. Being able to land solid on someone who's on the move is another. I mean, one thing that trainers do say, and I mentioned it earlier on in the evening, is that if you catch somebody clean with one they don't see, then anyone can go. But the problem is catching Tyson Fury clean with one he doesn't see, because Deontay Wilder's put him down 4 times but hasn't been able to put him away. So when you assess all of that, it is the tall task that we thought it would be for Ngannou. But I'll just be interested to see if he can give us something a little bit unexpected on the night.
What I would say, looking at him hitting the pads there, he throws a body shot with a very straight leg, and for a man that punches very hard, if he dipped his legs a little more, he'll generate a lot more power. But watching him with 16-ounce gloves on, you know, he's got reasonable hand speed.
Well, Billy Nelson, we're going to let you go. Thank you so much for your insight. And I think you only mentioned Martin Bakole once, so well done, well done, Billy Nelson. Thank you so much. Well, that was the insight of a boxing trainer, Billy Nelson. What do you make of what you're watching right now, Andy Clark?
It's really interesting to watch him, you know, really interesting, because when he was doing that kind of routine on the pads, he tapped the jab, then go up with the jab, then look to throw the right hand, and he was slightly hesitant. I think he's aware really that this kind of stage he's on at the moment, he's kind of feeling his way a touch, and that's always going to be the case when you've not been at this all that long, because swapping over to boxing from MMA would be like doing it the other way around. And what could we realistically expect Tyson to achieve if he stepped into the octagon?
Hey, listen, if you ask him,
onto Ngannou's home turf. I know what he'll say if you ask him, but he's not. These people are not always the greatest judges of their own strengths, to be honest with you, because they think they're amazing at everything.
Yeah,
that's partly why they get to where they get to.
No, absolutely. And the point I was referring to there was actually at the very end of the first launch press conference in London. It was quite friendly, but it started getting a little bit spicy the moment Tyson said that he can actually beat Francis Ngannou in a cage as well. And I don't know, look, he might even try that one day. In the wild career of Tyson Fury, do not rule out seeing him in an octagon, in a cage one day.
No, I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. You wouldn't rule anything out with him. He's the kind of character who seeks new experiences, but I would advise against it for exactly the same reason that this is going to be very hard for Ngannou. That would be extremely hard for Fury. It just would. And boxing it's kind of amazing how in these crossover events, kind of we get to, you know, our game, our rules. You know, that's how it generally turns out, isn't it? But I've got all the respect in the world to him for doing it. I know he's going to get phenomenally well paid for this, but when you get to that level of the sport, yes, the money does matter. It's always important because you want to get paid what you're worth, and we're talking about money here that could be life-changing for future generations of Ngannou. But at the same time, you're in there for the glory and to win. That's what you're there for. So, as Bunsey said, he absolutely does not think that he is going to lose this fight. It's not the same, but I remember when Canelo boxed Bivol, and people were making Canelo quite a heavy favourite, and Bivol just he literally couldn't understand it. Like, why are you all mad? Like, why would you think that?
Yeah.
Like I say, it's not the same, but Ngannou has got that champion's mindset where in his mind he is going to win.
Well, we are about to speak to the man they call the Predator, an absolute unit of a man, the one and only Francis Ngannou. Francis, how are you, sir? How are you? Good to see you.
Your face too much.
I know. I'm everywhere. Please. Well, so you've seen my face everywhere, but I tell you.
Can somebody help me with my gloves, please?
Have you? How do those gloves feel?
Huh?
How do the gloves feel?
Feel pretty good.
Yeah.
I love them.
a lot bigger than what you're used to, right? I mean, how do you feel in terms of when you actually hit something? Does it still
No,
feel the
but-
same?
Even in MMA, we use a big glove for training, for sparring. We are very protected when we spar because we need our opponent and to be safe, and ourselves too, because we have a lot of risk of injury and every kind of injury, knee, elbow, shoulder, everything. So we protect ourselves pretty good.
What were you trying to show us in there today? What were you trying to show the public?
Nothing. I was just having fun.
I knew it.
I almost wanted to just dance. Then I realized then I will show them my dance skill. And I'm like, nah,
You can show us now if you like.
no. I don't have any. I mean, just a little, but not too much.
No, you don't want to give too much away, do you? It's what I wonder is, do you feel that in the build-up to this, you've been shown the respect you deserve by the boxing community, or do you feel we're boxing people? Do you feel that in general boxing has not shown you enough respect?
Well, let's be honest. I haven't gained any respect from boxing community. So I'm not expecting anybody to respect me. I think I need to gain my own respect, to claim my own respect. You know, respect is not given. You don't just walk around and demand for people to respect you for no reason. I think respect is earned, and I'm gonna earn my respect, whether it's in the boxing community or in life in general. That's my goal, to earn my respect.
There seems to be an opinion from the boxing public that what you're going to do is follow Tyson around and just try and land that big punch. But I think there's going to be a bit more than that, isn't there, Francis?
Well, they're gonna find out. I think people have a right to think. There's 8 billion people on Earth, so you have to understand it's 8 billion opinion. But there's only one opinion that's gonna matter. There is mine. So people have a right to think, and you can control people of having their opinion. You know, yes, I'm going to fight, and if that big shot comes, yes. If he doesn't come, I really intend to fight properly.
You've spent your whole life making the impossible possible. Is it possible for you to beat Tyson Fury on Saturday night?
Everything is possible. Everything is possible. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. In fact, see where we are talking about Tyson Fury. We would have believed that a couple of years ago. Even last year, we would have believed that. But here we are talking about that fight that is going to happen in 3 days. So it's quite possible.
Absolutely incredible speaking to you, Francis Ngannou. Thank you so much. We're
Thank
going to
you,
lose
Dave.
you. Got the fist bump in the end.